Good morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever you are, and welcome back to another Nerd Tube stream. I am joined by my ginger compatriot, Fat Man.
I'm Batman.
So, we're here to talk because me and you are kind of the DC animated universe aficionados here. We watch all the movies, whether good or bad. And so, there's been a freaking lot of news that's been dropped today. Well, in the past week or so. Just recently, we had the Justice Society World War II came out on physical, and it's been out for a couple weeks on digital. We also had the announcement of Bruce Timm having a new Batman series called Cape Crusader, and I think they said something about a Superman show.
Yes.
We also have more animated movies. They just announced a Injustice animated movie, which I think will be very interesting. I mean, the games are hugely popular. And then, of course, we got two trailers recently, one for The Long Halloween Part 1 and one for The Long Halloween Part 2. So, with all that being said, and probably many more little nuggets of joy that you're going to have, Ginger, on your... I almost called you Mario. Ginger on your...
Yes.
You know, when you work with one spouse for so long, it's just hard to sometimes transition
Yeah,
over.
it's how it goes, but I've been called worse.
So, what do you want to start with? What are you thinking? Big news first, or
I think we might as well start quickly with the Bruce Timm and the Superman animated stuff because there's not much to go on there, and so we can get those out of the way very quickly. One of the alarm bells that has rang for me is that J.J. Abrams is somehow attached to this animated project.
Which wasn't he attached to the some Superman sequel in the DCEU or something like that?
Yeah, something
or a
to do with
reboot or
Black
something like that.
So, JJ, he's like this little fucking rat that just won't go away. Like after the disaster of Rise of Skywalker, I am amazed. I mean, he must have nudes of Hollywood producers because after that abortion of a film, how he's still allowed to make anything is beyond me. So he's somehow attached as a producer to this, and I'm a bit weary of that because Bruce Timm has proved himself. He's done a couple of animated films for Warner Brothers. I think the only one that I didn't like was it was Batman and Harley Quinn. I thought that was not great, but he's done other ones. I'm pretty sure he did Gotham by Gaslight or whatever it's called as well, and other things.
I think he's been involved in a lot of those new.
He has.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did one of the Suicide Squads as well, I believe, which was excellent.
I think it was Hell to Pay.
Hell to Pay, yeah, which was absolutely brilliant. So he's been involved in a few things, so we know he could do it. So J.J. Abrams' involvement confuses me. But watch this space.
They might even just have him just for a name. You know what I mean? Like maybe
like Steven Spielberg and Transformers.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Matt Reeves is also attached to it, so I'm guessing it's just getting a name out there to kind of help the simpletons be enticed in because of it. Ooh, J.J. Abrams and that Batman guy is involved in this. I'll give it a watch. So it could. I'm hoping it's just that. That's fine by me.
Well, and the thing that scares me about that is going back to way back in the early DC animated universe, like with the movies and everything, that just before The Dark Knight came out, there was, or was it The Dark Knight Rises? I think it was Dark Knight Rises. No, it was The Dark Knight. A animated movie came out called Batman Gotham Knights, and it had direct influence by Christopher Nolan. God awful. And it was split into 6 parts. It was absolutely terrible. It is at the very, I want to say it's at the very bottom of my entire DC AEU, the animated universe, tier list or what, not even tier list, but the list. It's dead last because it is absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. And that's why I'm like, with these animated projects, you can't just throw a big fancy name on it. You have to have somebody who knows what they're doing. And Bruce Timm, yes. J.J. Abrams? Probably not. He not only did he do Rise of Skywalker, but he also did Star Trek Into Darkness. So, which, I mean, I know you're not very familiar with, but is a god-awful film.
No, I know his Kelvin Star Trek films. They're
Yeah.
god awful. Yeah, the
So
first one was okay, but
yeah, but still nothing to write home
they're
about.
not Star Trek. It's
Yeah.
just dumbed down garbage. So yeah, so I'm kind of hoping. Anyway, it's a wait and see. Next, we have the new Superman series. Let me just quickly read. HBO Max and Cartoon Network announced a 2-season series order of My Adventures with Superman. It's called an all-new kids and family animated action-packed comedic romantic adventures of Superman and Lois Lane, produced by Warner Brothers. Oh, so this is more like for the kiddie stuff.
Which is fine as long as it
That's
stays in
fine.
its lane. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'm not going to rag on that because it's not pandering to an adult audience. So
Yeah. If as
that's
long as it's
fine.
pandering to kid, like that's why I don't rag on Teen Titans Go, because it's like I hated the fact that they canceled Young Justice for Teen Titans Go, but
Yeah.
Teen Titans Go is fine as long as, I mean, it's a kid show and it's somewhat entertaining, I'll admit.
Yeah. That's fine. So that's what we know about the new animated Superman. Okay, next we have DC Injustice Gods Among Us coming out, which those of you who are familiar with the games would know how awesome the story was. But the comic books were even better. Pardon me. They did 5 years. It's because everyone is just called year 1, year 2, year 3. And up to now, they've done 5 years. And then I think they switched it to like He-Man and then Thundercats were involved. It got a bit silly afterwards. But the Injustice comics are up there in my top 5 favorite DC comic runs that I've ever read. They were absolutely just a brilliant take where Superman becomes a dictator. And Batman kind of goes underground, so it's like their version of Civil War, but just like a whole separate thing, not really tied to the DC universe. It was just its own thing, and it's great. And the game was fantastic. And now I cannot wait for the animated show, the animated film. Sorry. There is no news on who's going to direct it. I'm guessing it might be like Justin Liu or Jimmy Yang Tang, whatever the other guy's called, one of them two, who are pretty decent, but they've dropped in standards. So I'm hoping they go with someone a bit different. Injustice is a dog's bollocks. Yes, it is. Yeah, the comic book was great. The game is phenomenal.
Oh, I thought that meant it was bad.
Huh?
The dog's bollocks? I thought that meant it was bad.
No, dog's bollocks means it's awesome. Bollock. A load of bollocks is bad.
Oh gosh, just lost in translation.
Yeah, you stay in your lane, Yankee. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to this. It should be good. It's set. It's actually they've already done it. Then I think no, they haven't. Hang on. No, that's the release dates for Batman: The Long Halloween. I misread that. Okay. Anyway, speaking of,
well,
nice way to
do you mind if I bring?
into...
Do you mind if I weigh in on Injustice?
Yeah, go for it. Sorry.
That's okay. So I played both games. I have not read the comic books, but here's the thing is that this is like my girlfriend's making faces at me as she walks by. Yeah, you taught me. Okay, Zam said he taught me the 3 bollocks phrases in the past, which I think is a load of bollocks. So
you got that one right.
So anyway, okay, back on track. So here's my thing: is that we've had a lot of evil Superman recently. We've had Homelander, we've had Omni-Man, I'm okay with this only because it's literally evil Superman, and this is kind of like the inception of evil Superman. I don't want to say the inception, but one of the times it did evil Superman right in comics and media and video games and everything. So I'm more okay with this than like Omni-Man and Homelander and all that, just because I'm kind of sick of all these ripoffs of evil Superman. But I feel like this will probably be better because it's literally evil Superman. So. And I mean, the games are good. I like the games. I like the story of the games. I wish they were a little bit more RPG-ish, which I know most people don't, but that's just me because I'm a milquetoast gamer.
Well, I think it's always criminal that Rocksteady were never given carte blanche to kind of do Superman in that kind of vein of like the Arkham games, and they could have easily done it via Injustice or whatever. But we kind of got a hint of that with the upcoming Suicide Squad game with the evil Superman, but that's not Injustice. That's just Brainiacs brainwashed him or some shit. But anyway, I'll wait and see how that turns out. If you can't be asked to read the comic, I can send you a YouTube video. The guy just sits there and explains everything that happens.
I don't mind. I wouldn't mind reading it. I just have to get my hands on it. So,
All right, no problem.
but I mean, if you send me the link, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. It saves your hassle. I do that. I get a lot of my comic book stuff these days. I just get it from those videos, which actually a lot of times I've just gone on and downloaded legally the comic books to read. Speaking of which, I'll talk about that in a second. Right, then we have, which is just around the corner, June 21st, is the release, I think, of the physical copy of Batman: The Long Halloween Part 1. And then today or the other day, the trailer dropped for Batman: The Long Halloween Part 2. If you're not familiar with the comic book, it takes place around year 2 and year 3 of Batman, so he's still in his early stages. He is at the point now where he's working with Harvey Dent and Gordon to bring down the Falcones by any means necessary, but bending, not breaking the law.
Yeah, which you kind of get the Dark Knight parallels there. That's where a lot of the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises pulled from, was the Long Halloween.
Exactly. And so this very much centers around the Falcones. I think the Maronis kind of play a part in it later on, but not in a big capacity. There are people getting murdered on specifically on holiday days and special holidays. And as the story progresses, we see the creation of Two-Face and the introduction of the villains coming in that go from just goons to like proper, super villains. And it's the comic book was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. One of the few times Jeff Loeb actually did good work. I think this was back in the day when it was actually good. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to spoil it for those that haven't read the comic book and are just going to go and watch the animated film.
As long as they don't hush it.
Cheeto.
As long as they don't hush it. I mean, Hush is one of my favorite. Hush is one of my favorite comic books of Batman. I keep in mind I have not read The Long Halloween. I know a lot about it. I've seen stuff. And apparently, we have somebody commenting. Our read.
Arteta out.
Okay.
And no. Keep him there, because the longer he's there, the more he devalues the Arsenal Football Club, and it means we can get rid of the Cron case.
Oh no, it's sports. No.
Yeah.
No, Zam, we're not spoiling it.
No, we're not. We're not used to Zam. We're not spoiling anything.
So anyway, I mean, but I'm really looking forward to this. I might read the comic before, or I might read the comic book after. I haven't decided yet. But I mean, I know stuff that goes on. I hope they don't hush this, where it's like, it's a good Batman story, and then they try to put their own spin on the end of it to make it a shock value, which honestly, every time they do that, to me, it just kind of ruins it for me. They did it in Gotham by Gaslight, because in the comic books, it wasn't the person who it actually was in the animated movie. I didn't like it, but some people did. I don't know if you did or not, like who they made the actual Jack the Ripper, but
I didn't like it.
Yeah, okay.
So
I didn't.
Apart from that, the rest of it was really good.
Oh yeah, the rest of it was amazing. It was so sad when they got to the end, and I'm like,
yeah.
like, so and Hush just was an abomination. I mean, I love. All I'm going to say now, without spoiling the Hush animated movie, is I love Riddler, I love Hush, and they just did both those characters dirty in that thing. Like, just they did them dirty.
I mean, even Zam, who hasn't read the comic, didn't like it. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
Shame on you, Warner Brothers, for doing that. Shame on you.
hopefully they learn their lesson and they stick to the source material on this and just make it a good movie with well act. That's what we want to see. We want to see our favorite comic books come to like at least animated life. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, I agree. And we just want them done properly. You can tweak a few things in terms of saving time, but
But when
just
you
stick
make a
to the source
huge,
material. You don't need to
yeah.
change it.
Okay, so yeah, but that's all. I mean, the trailers look good. It definitely made me interested. The second one made me more interested than the first one. The first one looked very, ganglandish and as I said, I haven't read the comic, so I'm sure that, but I have heard a lot, so it tracks with the actual comic, but it's
Yeah,
very
it's very
ganglandish.
gangland, the, the
Yeah,
the comic book. But the minute I saw the first trailer, I was like, oh, okay, this is sticking close to the source material, so that's good. Especially with how Bruce Wayne is kind of connected with the Falcones and all that. That's quite interesting. Again, I don't want to say too much because I end up spoiling too much, and I don't want to spoil it for you, Cheeto. Never mind the rest of the audience. So yeah, yeah, I can't wait for that. Well, seeing as we're still only at 16 minutes, we might as well also announce that they've also said they're going to be doing a Batgirl movie. Now, this is for HBO Max. So it's not getting a gangbang. No, that's the wrong kind of comic books, mate. I don't know what you've been reading.
I mean, we
Maybe
are talking about the Batgirl comics now, so might as well talk
now.
about
Well,
the
now we're
movie
talking
now.
about the Batgirl, the movie, which is going to be directed by the live action movie, by the way, which is going to be directed by the guys that did Bad Boys for Life and written by the stupid twat that wrote what was that Harley Quinn sequel called Birds of Prey, and so it's got failure written all over it. But let's wait and see. Also, don't be shocked, because if this is set in the Matt Reeves universe, Batgirl will be black in this, because Jim Gordon is black in Matt Reeves is Batman, which is a good actor that they fucking hired.
Yeah,
God, his
I
name,
agree. I'm like,
great
I love
actor.
him.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that Matt Reeves Batman as well. Looks very, very, very back to form, shall we say? Yeah. So, thoughts on that one, Cheeto?
I mean, I haven't that one. I haven't honestly seen anything for. I heard about it first when you brought it up earlier.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to see the Batgirl. I don't know if I want to see like a Batgirl run with like but the recent comic books, because wasn't she like more of like a teenager with selfies and cell phones? And I've
Yeah, she
seen
was very annoying mixture of like these kind of like Valley Girl types.
with like Jubilee from the X-Men almost. It looked like.
Yeah, she was very like annoying. Oh my god, take a selfie. Oh, look at me do crime. Oh no.
Yeah,
Nothing.
I'm kind of like.
I love the uniform of that run. Mind you, we're saying recent, but this is not recent. This is like a decade ago. When
Really?
they changed the uniform. Yeah, it was like
Oh,
in the New 52 universe
oh shit! I'm
where,
getting
where they
old.
changed it. But time flies, man. And New 52 was like the mid 2000s.
I know. Well, and then like when I realized that Hush was like literally 20 years ago,
Yeah.
and I'm like, when this movie came out a couple years ago, I'm like, oh yeah, it's like a comic that came out 10 years ago. And then the guy looked at me, he's like, Hush, or one of the guys looked at me, he's like, Hush came out almost 20 years ago. I'm like, shit.
Yeah, it's fucking it's mental. It's absolutely mental how time flies. Like, yeah, so that Batgirl that nobody liked. I hope they kind of go with that outfit rather than the impractical figure hugging thing. So that'll be interesting to see. No, I don't really care about that film. I
As
don't.
long as she sleeps with Batman in the movie, that's all I care about, because
Oh, good lord!
that's what the fandom wants is Batgirl and
Listen,
Batman to sleep together.
there's plenty of pornos where you can go and see Batgirl getting plowed by Batman with his bat dick. Let's just keep this PG. I know
Oh,
I'm saying that.
I know. And the alternate universe has taken over. This is the worst timeline where you're the one saying, let's keep it PG.
Yeah, I know. This is we're in the Injustice universe where everything's reversed.
backwards.
But talking about weird comic books and all this kind of stuff. On a side note, I'm just gonna quickly say about Marvel. They just came out today. Fantastic Four Life story, which
Oh, I read about that. I hate these.
do you? Oh, the
It's
Spider-Man one was really good.
well, it might be, but it reeks of Ultimate Comics or the Ultimate line, and I hate the Ultimate line.
There's nothing to do with Ultimate Line.
No, but because the Ultimate line was basically a retelling of Spider-Man's origins in modern day in the 2000s, like early 2000s,
Yeah, but the
1990s.
life story is taking each decade that since their creation. So comic book one is the 60s when the Fantastic Four were created. Comic book two will be the 70s. Comic book three will be the the 80s. It does it that. Each comic book is a decade. Rather than it's not canon, it's just like a one-off thing. So it's like six issues.
Yeah,
And the
I'm good.
Spider-Man one was excellent, except for I think the last two were way too rushed. But that's my biggest problem with them is that they don't.
Give him time to breathe.
Yeah, they need to be 100 pages per issue to kind of really
I
enjoy
mean, if you're
them.
going through a whole decade, then you really wouldn't need to.
Yeah, it always feels rushed. That's the biggest mistake. But Marvel Comics today is just it's impossible to like them. They've been Disneyfied so badly.
What?
Yeah, they become pensioners by the end. So with Spider-Man's run, by the time it got to Spider-Man's run, his kids were in their 20s and he was well into his like 70s, I think, or 60s and that. So yeah, it does that. So it's really good, really interesting take. You kind of enjoy more the personal stuff than the superhero stuff.
Well, that's what
So
it sounds like. It sounds like it's more focused on the personal stuff.
yeah, so yeah, I'm hoping they do that with X-Men next because that would
Oh
be
boy,
really, really good to see.
Magneto will be dead.
Yeah,
Resurrect.
Magneto. He'd still be like 160 years old and all that. But
He's like, I am holding my body together with my magnetism and the iron in my lungs.
that's it, yeah. But no, like in the Spider-Man one, you had like Aunt May had died by the time they got to the 80s. Doc Ock had died as well from old age. These people just died from old age pretty much.
Yeah, until they get cloned and come back.
They were not, thankfully. Oh no, they did have a clone twist as well, which was annoying, but they had to put it in there. But again, you don't take these too serious because it's just one-offs.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Sorry for the tangent. I thought I'd just plug something if somebody wanted to read some comic books. I think I'm the only guy that still reads comics.
No, my collection room says to differ. I've got thousands of comic books in my collection room.
That you still buy today.
Oh, I still buy today. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, good. Okay.
Currently,
so
I'm collecting. Currently, I'm collecting Savage Event. Now, you're gonna roll your eyes at my lineup, but Savage Avengers, Fantastic Four, Thor, which I'm kind of in and out of. I think Amazing Spider-Man and Champions are my current runs.
All right. Okay.
Thor, I was kind of interested in where they were going with the whole. Have you read any of Thor's new stuff?
No.
Oh,
The only things I've attempted to read Marvel wise, oh god, it's just X-Men stuff because there's so much. And Kirkman, I do not like Kirkman's X-Men. They've just pussified the X-Men. I don't like it. So
yeah.
I've gone more into the kind of just catching up with old works of Mark Miller and old works of was the guy that did The Boys, that guy who wrote the comic book. I forget his name, but yeah, I've gone back to his stuff. I'm reading something called Space Bastards, which is really funny. Again, indie comic stuff.
Thor is interesting because and I'm not spoiling too much, but in the beginning, in the opening like storyline, Frank Miller, Zam says.
No, not Frank Miller. No. It's Greg Ennis.
Oh. But in the beginning of Thor, like Thor becomes like to fight some ancient being, Thor becomes a herald of Galactus. and they go to fight this like eternal winter or whatever it's called, which is like something older than Galactus even in the universe or whatever. So it's interesting. And then they just went through a run that involves Donald Blake coming back with like Donald Blake alternate version of Thor, and he comes back with a vengeance. I'll just put it that way. So it's interesting. I can't guarantee you're gonna like it, but it might be worth you at least looking into them, being like,
what they called Thor? What? Just Thor?
Just Thor. I think. I'm pretty sure that's all it's called. Yeah, but that's the one I'm kind of most interested. Champions is still pretty good, but they just restarted the run. Fantastic Four is about, I think, 2 years in now. I don't know. I'm kind of getting on them.
Yeah.
I like the Fantastic Four, but for some reason they just have a rough time with the long run.
It's just Marvel writers are weak these days. They're just weak. Like they've got like this Heroes Reborn thing. So I had a flick through Shutterbug, which is Spider-Man kind of. And Heroes Reborn is basically a retelling of the same shit. So this time in this episode, for example, Spider-Man doesn't get bitten by a radioactive spider. He eventually gets bitten by some fucking alien spider thing instead.
Nice.
And Hyperion is like the main fucking focus of these Heroes fucking Marvel comics.
They were trying to make Hyperion Superman is what they were trying to do.
Yeah, they're trying. They still keep trying now.
Yeah, there's no way. Like Hyperion.
Sorry, go on.
Hyperion will just never be. He's just like, I know Superman is somewhat generic, but like Hyperion is just super generic, and like he doesn't have the same sticking power as Superman. It's just not going to happen. Marvel, just stop it.
Just stop it. And the way they're pushing him in the comics is you can sniff that they're going to make a film. It's like, just stop. It's bad enough we're getting a Riri fucking show and Miss Marvel when you've got the fucking X-Men around the corner. Just stop all the new characters. Stop. And now move on to X-Men and Fantastic Four. It's time. It's now time.
It really is time.
Like, anymore.
I understand there might be a transition period, but I feel like they're really trying to shift the foot. And now I know we're going on a Marvel tangent. We're talking about DC.
We're live. Who cares? We're live. We can do whatever.
But I really feel like there will be a transition period. But I really do feel like after Phase 4, like whatever we got going in Phase 4 here, they really need to hard pivot towards like X-Men and like, because you can tell they're going for Thunderbolts, Dark Avengers, and Young Avengers. Yeah, and Champions, like all that kind of stuff. And it's like I feel like they need to hard pivot into X-Men here, like after Phase 4, like after Guardians 3 is done and the Guardians are totally, well, they say they're reformed after that movie, but Guardians needs to be done. They hit it huge in the first one. The second one was okay. Crap. Well, I say okay, but and then the third one, unless they do something crazy, I can't see it being anything more than just okay. Like the first Guardians was just hit it out of the ballpark, and I get that. But you're trying to replicate that again, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So
it's just going to be more of the same shit jokes and 80s music, and it's like, okay, we get it.
Yeah.
We don't want it anymore.
No more. Anyway, so back, did you want to talk about Justice Society, World War II? We didn't talk about that at all.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, we can do. Started off really good. It was the Flash and Superman fighting Brainiac at the start.
So modern day. Modern day. Because modern day Flash is one of the Flashes in this, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and running to stop a kryptonite bullet against Superman, he kind of ends up going into the past, and he comes into the World War II era where the Justice Society is there, the Wonder Woman, and the original Flash,
Jay Garrick.
Jake Garrick, that's the one. And I forget the guy with the yellow hood and the brown kind of.
Oh, what is his name?
I forget his name.
Yeah, I know him though.
Yeah,
Yellow, is it a yellow helmet or yellow hood?
I think it's Yellow Hood. I think
Because there's Dr. Fate, which I'm assuming you know about.
Dr. Fate is in this as well. Briefly.
Yeah, but he has the yellow helmet.
Yeah, he has the helmet. And
Who
this
is?
guy has the hood
It,
and then the brown mask. And
yeah, I don't remember what his name was, but I'm sure I could look it up.
he's in it. I can't remember now. My memory these days is abysmal. Anyway, yeah, it just basically starts off great, then it just ends up getting a bit silly with the Atlanteans getting involved, and like somehow Aquaman's in this, and
So it sounds like a World War II telling of Flashpoint.
yeah, but what happens is he actually hasn't gone in the past, he's gone to a different universe
Yeah,
instead. So it's like a multiverse thing
yeah.
rather than going back in the past. And that's how you end up with the Flash and a different Superman in this one and all of that. But it's just kind of the timeline is just parallel to World War II, but it's like a different Earth. And it started off good, and then it was just same old story, big city fight and blah 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 and yawn fest. Yeah, so I mean, check it out. You might enjoy it, but
Yep,
no rush.
okay.
I suppose. But let's hope that the new the Batman stuff is a lot better, and that because the recent animated stuff has not been that great. Let's be honest. The Superman one. Well, what was the one where they ran back, where Flashpoint kind of happens at the end, where Flash just runs?
Oh, Apocalypse War?
That's it. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I liked Apocalypse War.
Yeah, that was good. That's been the only standout recently. So let's see. Let's hopefully it's a return to form now with bigger budgets, because you could tell the budgets were slipping for these. But
I feel like they turned too hard into the shared universe. Like,
yeah.
You know, and I understand why they want a shared universe, because we all want a shared universe, but at the same time, that's not exactly the best thing for like the product.
Yeah, just I prefer standalones.
Yeah,
give me more standalones. That
if you're going to do a shared universe,
was great. Don't get me wrong, I loved it, but it just tried too much to have it, and it was just more standalones. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yep, we stretched it out as far as we could, and I think we're done.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you very much for joining us. Ginger, thank you very much. I'm excited about what DC's got coming up. We'll see what they got. As I said, we do these every so often. And yeah, so bye, Zam.
Cheers,
thanks for joining us. And if you have any other suggestions of things we can talk about, or if you want, even fan film reactions or tier lists or anything like that, leave them in the comments. We'll see them and we'll do them. With all that being said, thank you guys, and see you in the next one. Catch you later.
Bye.